Warning. The following content is intended for immature audiences only. The opinions of these two fine gentlemen should not be taken seriously at all.
The JTS 51 Podcast. Introducing your hosts, JT and Sai.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of your favourite podcast, the JTS 51 Podcast. Introducing myself, my name is JT, and as always, I should say, I have my co-host, my colleague, Sai. Sai, how you doing, mate?
Oh, I'm not so bad. One of these weeks, I'm not going to be here. I'm just going to sit here quietly and just see what happens.
Oh, awkward silence. Oh, you put me on the spot, mate.
Yeah.
I'll have to nervously talk, be like, wave my hands frantically, like, what are you doing? Say something.
Do you know, there's a few people at work that... Yeah, there's a few people at work that just have the awkward silence thing. So I don't mind, especially on Teams when somebody's talking to you, and I don't mind thinking about things. Yeah. But some people have to fill the space, so they just start talking about like their kids and the weather and stuff. And
something.
Just give me a minute.
I think I'm one of those people, to be fair. So like awkward silences for me, right? I used to be really good at them, not a problem. But now it's like, you know, if Teams chat goes quiet, I kind of feel like I'm under pressure to make a joke or something. Like say something. Do you know what I mean? Oh man, it's happened to me a few times. But you do get those people that kind of random or just they just waffle onto random things that have nothing to do about anything, and they just carry on going until the awkward silence is filled. Oh, we've all got one of those people that we know about, right? There's got to be either someone in the friend group or someone at work, a colleague that just waffle on to blankers to make sure there's no like blanks in the conversation that you're having. It's so awkward. Yep. It's so awkward.
Don't get me wrong, when I'm nervous, I definitely do that. Yeah. And it's weird because I'll start talking and someone will ask me a basic question, and then somehow I'll end up at like I don't know, UFOs or something. And I'm like, hang on a minute, we're supposed to be talking about work.
That just sounds like our conversations that we used to have, to be fair.
What, you mean we get that far?
Yeah, I know. Oh, man. If anyone doesn't know, me and Si used to work together. And, we talk about work, absolutely fine, not a problem. But then me and him just would go on some random like tangents and start speaking about, we'd finish speaking about one thing, but it would have nothing to do with what we were talking about, which was work. Do you know what I mean? So we'd be talking about spreadsheets and files and look, Susan done something funny, but then end up speaking about conspiracy theories like, did we land on the moon side? Like, do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I find brilliant is, you get those people that are like, you're in the conversation and you'll be talking about like work or something or other like that. Yeah. You and I will segue onto something completely random, and then they're sort of sat in the conversation. Yes. And they're too polite not to take themselves out of it. So they're just sort of sitting there grinning and smiling, just thinking, I hate these guys. I need to be out of this conversation.
Like, what the hell? We're meant to be talking about the financial core of the last year, but these guys are talking about socks. This is ridiculous. Do you know what's really funny? I was going to say I've lost my train of thought. This is what happens.
Oh, well, I'm glad you said that.
Do you know what it is?
Because I didn't know what your train of thought was
either.
No,
I know, it's weird. I was going to say, do you ever like have that experience, like when you're in a call or like even in a face-to-face meeting, right, where you just wander off? Your mind just I think it's pretty normal with everyone, because no one can keep 100% concentration. We've all been there. No. But I've been in some weird like meetings where it's gone so boring, and I already know what's what's being said, what's presented, and I'll be sitting there. I'll either have a pen and paper, I'll be doodling, kind of like secretly, not like in front of everyone, or my mind would just go on a crazy tangent. I'll be thinking like, I wonder how my manager's gonna tactically sort my team out on the weekend and in the football. Do you know what I mean? I'll be thinking, it's going to be a 4-4-2. Oh no, he's injured. So what shall I do? Like, it'll be ridiculous. And then someone will be like, JT, what do you think? I think that's a great idea. Great idea. We should 100%.
House on someone's head. That's where we were last week. That's how that happened.
100%.
Someone was thinking, how's my team going to perform? Oh, do you know that my strikers are a little bit out of form this week. So, JT, what do you reckon? Yeah, a house, would that work?
Yes, it would. Brilliant idea. That's it. Bring down the house. Excellent.
Right, we're off to the Grammys.
That's it. I could just imagine that being real as well. Do you know what I mean? I could actually imagine that being real. Yeah. Oh, mate. How's your week been?
Not so bad, actually. I am very proud of myself for...
Ooh, okay, do tell.
So, it's not often you get a British guy doing that. We're all like, everything's awful. It's terrible.
It's okay.
End of the world.
It's okay, isn't it? Yeah, ups and downs. You know how it is. No.
You imagine if the British version of Elon Musk, oh my God, you're sending reusable rockets to space, you're planning to get to Mars.
It could be better. It could be better. You know, yeah. I mean, we're only going to Mars. I wish it was like Saturn. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
But no, anyway, small wins. Yeah, I had a problem with my boiler.
Sorry, I thought you said small wins. I was like, what, hurricane problem? I'm proud of my small wins. No, sorry, go on, carry on, mate.
Well, that's fine when we're at home. In the office, that's a different story, right?
Absolutely. That's when you got to differentiate. You got to remember you're at work. You're not at home anymore. Oh my God.
Actually, speaking about that, do you ever sit, just before I talk about my story, do you ever get that where you're like sitting in a meeting for like a long time, and then you feel like you do need to have a little pramp, and so but you have to hold it in. So then as soon as the meeting ends, you get like half the room just disappears off to the toilets. And we're all sitting there just like trying not to fart at the same time. 100%. And everyone's doing the same.
I've told you the story, innit, whether you got awkward sounds either when you're hungry or like you need to let one rip. Oh my God, I remember like I'd start shuffling. If you ever see me shuffling randomly, like making a noise, it's something going on with my stomach, mate. My stomach is making sounds, and I'm trying to like cover it as much as I can. But yeah, no, it's a normal thing. I think it's a pretty normal thing to be fair. It's just so funny when it's a collective.
So anywho, parking my small wins for another day. Small wins. So I had a few problems with my boiler, and as you know, I'm completely tight and I hate spending money. So took the thing apart, which I wouldn't recommend anybody doing, but I don't mind. Had a look at it. I should point out that I have absolutely no idea what I was doing. Okay, now I'll be very clear. This was not the gas part.
I was going to say it's dangerous game. It's like there's things you can tinker with, but not the boiler, mate. Do you know what I mean? No.
This was like the sort of water pipe in. So I was like, okay, what's the worst that can happen? I can flood the place, and then I need to replace a bit of the ceiling.
An explosion, maybe.
It's not the end of the world. So in any case, it just turned out that something had worn out on it. So not having a clue really what I was doing, got the manual, found the part number. Obviously, this boiler is like 200 years old. It's ridiculous, you know. So anyway, found the manual, found the part, jumped onto eBay, ordered the part, jumped onto YouTube, figured out what the hell I was doing, shut all the water and everything, shut the whole lot down, managed to replace the part. Obviously, you know, I was sort of... took 10 times longer than a plumber would have done, but the point is I got there in the end, put it all back, boom, worked.
Wow.
Only bloody worked.
That's amazing.
Not only that, right? Not only that, when I turned the mains water off in the house, it was a little bit drippy, and I turned it back on again and noticed it was like dripping more. So I YouTubed that as well and fixed that problem at the same time. Now, for people that are plumbers, right, this is just like nothing. But to me, it's a big deal. Like 2 jobs done.
Amazing.
I was like, amazing. I must have saved myself like 300 quid there, because call-out charges in the UK are ridiculous.
100%. Oh, that's crazy. And if anyone is interested in using Si for your gas and and plumbing needs, he is available. Just leave your contact number in our... Actually, no, don't do that. Don't leave your contact number.
Yeah, don't leave any...
Send us an email.
Let's not start that again. Let's not start any more bad recommendations.
Absolutely. No, honestly, you're right.
The way I figured it right, but the way I figured it right is that, because my missus was like, but what if you break it? And I was like, well, look, right, so what's the worst?
Got to give it a go.
I snapped the thing off, right. Call out charge is going to be like 100 quid or whatever the hell it is these days, probably more, right? They will order the part and charge you more than it is for you to just buy it, unless they have a little discount, but they charge you more anyway. And then I'd have to come back to fit it, so they would charge you for that as well, and then you have VAT and all that other stuff on top. So I figured, what's the worst that if I break it more than it already is, then I already know the problem, so I can take a picture of the bit that I've broken and just say, no, I need someone to come and fix this.
That's right. You know what, that happened to my dad one time. So I think he was fixing something. My dad's he's a pretty handy guy. Like he knows how things work. Like, I don't know, dads just have this thing. I don't know what it is, right? You know, one day I wish I had that knowledge. But I think he was fixing something. In my mind, I can't remember what it was. Let's just say it was a boiler, for example, right? He was fixing a boiler. He's done it hundreds of times. He must have broke one thing, and he's like, shit, that wasn't meant to happen, right? So he was like, oh fuck, what do I do now? So he rang his mate, who's an actual plumber, right? And he's he does gas and boilers and stuff like that. Came round, he said, oh bloody hell, what the hell's happened here? And my dad, out of nowhere, said, do you know what? I had this guy come and look at this boiler, and he's so amateur, he broke this thing off, and then he ran.
Brilliant.
I was like, Dad,
Brilliant. That's exactly what I would have done as well.
On the spot, I thought that's brilliant. He didn't want to embarrass himself in front of his mate, saying, "Oh, you know what? I fucked up." He was like, "This guy came in, and I didn't think he knew what he was doing, to be honest, and he broke this. He said he'd be back in 5 minutes, and I've not heard from him since." I was like, "Oh, brilliant! Oh, that is fantastic." I'll tell you what, my dad's come in quite handy actually recently. So for some reason, I don't know what's going on, but we've had our pipes have been ridiculous. So our sewer pipes. You know, like you got your shit.
We're not talking.
No, absolutely not. We had severe blockages in our house, so this is crazy. So
Again.
yeah. Oh, you can get pills for those now, Si. No, so basically, yeah. So you got your waste pipes, so your stuff coming from your shower, the drainage, the toilet, the sinks. They all connect to one. It goes down your sewer pipe, goes into the underground, like this. How it was explained to me, and then it get pushed out to the main sewer line on your road, and then it goes blah blah blah. So we noticed that every single kind of sink, every single drain kind of in our house basically it was taking a lot of time for the water to go down. So thinking, shit, this is a problem now. Like, this is crazy. And we noticed that it's not been like it happened straight away. It's been gradual. So we, my dad's done the cheap thing, gone out, bought some drain cleaners, put them down the sink holes, put them down the shower holes, put them down the toilet, blah blah blah. See if that helps. As anyone would do. Like anyone would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Anywho, it came to a point where water was literally not going down, and we thought, oh god, we're gonna have to call our mate, who's he's an all-in-one he's a builder, a great builder. He's a kind of like a trainee electrician, so he can do very kind of basic things, but he can't do the more kind of expensive things, like the expensive. I say expensive, the more specialized things. And he's also a very good plumber. So he came around. He goes, all right, mate, I'm gonna have to have a look. Long story short, I'm not gonna give you the grimy details, but he opened up the manhole cover in our garden, and it was literally all blocked, full of crap, all crap in there, like literally all crap. And we're like, oh, that's disgusting. So he started pushing the crap like with these extending rods you can get from like your local DIY store. They're like a meter long, you get 10 in a pack, you literally screw them onto each other and you can push whatever you want down, whatever it is, clear the blockage. He's done that. And then at one point he goes to my dad, how long has this blockage been going for? My dad, I don't know why, but my dad said, do you know what, it's only happened recently. We know it's been months, right? It's like of gradually being blocked. And then once he's cleared everything, now we've only got little bits of residue left. There was a sweet corn there. So, in the drain, right? So if anyone doesn't know, sweet corn doesn't process well in your body. Sometimes it comes out as whole. So there's one tiny piece of sweet corn there. And I'm looking at my dad, and my dad just said, yeah, this only happened like kind of like in the last couple of days. I was like, Dad, I'm pretty sure we had sweet corn like weeks ago. This is, yeah.
A piece of sweet corn,
that piece of sweet corn is damning evidence to say that this blockage wasn't from a few days ago. This is from a few weeks ago. This is madness. But yeah, that really made me laugh, to be honest. I didn't think I thought Daddy kind of should just tell the truth there. You could have come up with a better answer. Just be honest. Oh man, but that was bloody hilarious. Yeah, but yeah, a tiny sweet corn just completely outdone my dad's lie. So yeah.
The good news is the guy that repaired it didn't know the difference. Have you noticed though, just to go back to the boiler thing, don't you hate it when somebody comes in to do a job, right? Like we've got an old boiler, I'll admit that, right? And the first thing they do is, that's an old boiler, you should get that replaced. And I'm like, yeah, I know that, but
that's
don't have $5,000 to drop on a new one. That's why I've asked you to come around and repair this one.
I'll tell you what, mate. I'm going to put you on the spot. Try and guess how old our main boiler is in the house.
If it's anything like mine, it's got to be like 15, 20 years.
If you double that, you might be close to. That's how old ours is. Honestly, my dad and my uncle installed it in the 80s. And ever since then, like pretty much every year, my dad services it, so it works great. But now it's just given up on life. It's literally like my dad's tried to make it work. It's just given up. But every time we've had someone come in, it works great. It used to work great, sorry. But every time we've had a slight issue, we've had plumbers come in and they've had a look at the boiler. They're like, some of these lot are saying, this boiler's older than I am. like they don't, do you know what I mean? These are like 40, 50-year-old blokes coming in saying, when was this made? And my dad's like, I think it was like probably the 70s, 80s. He's like, just...
Knowing your dad, it was last week. This guy just come round and fitted it.
I've got the receipt. I bought it. But yeah, no, it's just it's
carved into like a stone tablet, right?
It's so old. The instructions on hieroglyphics. That's how old it is. You know what I mean? No, it is super old, but it's just cocked out now. These things have a life, and it's done so well to kind of withstand the pressures of time. But now it's just giving up at the end of life. So every time we've had someone come in, they're like, bloody hell, like it's time for you to get a new boiler. And I keep telling my dad, it's probably not the most efficient thing either. You know what I mean? That is probably you complain about the energy bills every month. This is probably the reason why. Do you know what I mean? This was built for life in like 40 years ago, not now. So I get that feeling, mate. I get that feeling.
Fantastic.
But the cost is like 5-6K to change your boiler. So it's not something that people can afford straight away, mate. So yeah.
I'm surprised you don't still have one of those, like my nan's old house, where you put the 50p, like the electric. So you put the 50p and crank the handle, and it like you got that amount of electricity.
No.
Those were the dark times.
That's it, mate. Even the newer versions where you've had like a little key, right? You go to top it up at the shop and you come back and you put the key in, and it's like a run for about £10 worth. I've seen that. I've seen that recently.
No, I've not seen that.
I've seen that recently. Yeah, but that's. I think that's all gone down the window now. Out the window, shall I say?
Well, yeah, because 10 quid now? What's that, 15 minutes? Yeah, the amount we're paying for electric bills.
It's that bad, mate.
That's 2 charges of your iPhone, isn't it?
That's it, exactly. Oh, mate. Last week was the Super Bowl. Did you catch any of it?
I have never watched one in my life, so I feel like I'm about to be educated.
Nope, because I have never watched it, to be honest with you. But the thing is, right, for some reason, Americans seem to have any of our American fans, don't take this personally, but they seem to have a bit of a, let's say, a short attention span. Right, so they need halftime entertainment, right? So the Super Bowl halftime show has become one of the biggest things in America, like the most watched things in America, bar none. Even people that don't love American football will tune in just for the halftime show. As I know, like all my mates who don't watch American football all tuned in for the halftime show. So if anyone that doesn't know, this year's halftime show star was Kendrick Lamar, West Coast rapper from LA. And he had a decent performance. The only thing is, it was so polarizing, because I go online, people saying that was shit, and I go online, some people saying that was amazing. But like, there's literally there's no in between. It was either really good or really shit. It was just so polarizing. And the reason why it was so big is because there's been a big beef between 2 artists, global superstars Drake and Kendrick Lamar, both of them, right? They've been having a bit of beef. A few diss tracks have been thrown each side.
Oh, I was going to say, are they dropping the diss tracks?
They're dropping diss tracks, mate, left, right, centre. When it was popping off, I think it was popping off late last year. It would be as bad as... It goes quite deep, right? So these two were friends until find out that Kendrick didn't really like Drake, even though he was on his songs. And then they became massive, right? Became really big. Then they were throwing little sly digs to each other, not by name, but just like little sly digs. And then it all came to a culmination at the end of last year. So like the beef just went massive. And because Kendrick dropped a diss track called Not Like Us, very melodic beat, very easy to listen to. People are calling it a great diss. Drake is finished, blah, blah, blah. But Kendrick pulled out a few sly digs. So he brought out 2 of his ex-girlfriends, allegedly. One was performing. Her name is SZA, SZA. She actually done a duet with Kendrick Lamar. Then he brought out Serena Williams, who was reportedly an ex of Drake, and she was crip walking to the diss track against Drake. So he's pulled out Drake's ex and got her to dance to the Drake diss. So I was just like, wow, these guys are playing chess. This is mental. Like, it was crazy. And that hype literally made it the biggest show of recent times, to be fair. And yeah, I will say, Si, I know you probably haven't watched it, but the song, the diss track, is basically calling Drake a paedophile. So, and it's just,
Wow,
and it's
okay.
yeah, and it's just blown up. Like you got kids singing it, you've got adults singing it. Like it's become so huge. Oh, it's unbelievable. So it's Kendrick Lamar mania at the moment. So yeah, I thought I'll let you know that's been like the biggest talking point of the last couple of weeks. The halftime show.
So nice family show. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this happened in the halftime.
In half
thing
time,
he's-
where everyone,
right,
yeah.
nice.
So what they do, they'll build out a stage. You know, there's been some iconic halftime shows. You've had Michael Jackson, which people say was the best of all time. He literally came on stage and stood there for 5 minutes while people fainted. Like it was that big. Like they've only got like 20 minutes for the show, and he stood there for 5 minutes. Like, which is crazy. They've had like Dolly Parton. They've had I think a few years ago they had Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. That was really big. Yeah, very very big esteemed artists from all genres, not just like one genre or the other genre. But yeah, so people tune in. And just for any Americans listening, it's still not big as the World Cup final. Sorry. Do you know what I mean? They pull out these numbers, hundreds of millions of people watch this, but it's just not as big as the World Cup final. So shame.
Do you know what it is though? I think I'm so childish that so you got this rapper just making all this nonsense up. Nothing beats a good your mum joke.
No, that's right. Yeah.
So he just like the next guy, this other guy, just gets somebody dresses up like his mum, and gets his mum to do something stupid, and it's like, "Where's your mum?"
Yeah.
You just walk away, calling me or whatever you want. Well, that's your mum.
Yeah, that's it.
Rude
That
harsh.
finishes everything.
So-
That finishes everything, right?
Yeah.
There's no coming back to it, honestly. But yeah, no, this beef has been like on social media. It's taken it like people have been gripped by the tension and the drama, basically. So it's come to a point where Drake's side leaked information to Kendrick's side to use in a diss track to Drake, and then in the next diss track, Drake said, see, I knew you fall for the bait. I told you like a lie. You used it in your diss track. Haha, dickhead. Like it's like I baited you out there. And yeah, no, it's gone deep. It has gone deep. It's gone to the point where I think Drake actually got. So Kendrick Lamar back in the day had an album, and it had a car on there, a car that he owned at one point. It's like a little family car. Drake actually found the car or a similar model and recorded a whole diss track of it getting driven from LA to wherever he is, and then getting sent to a junkyard and getting crushed while his diss track is playing in the background. I was like, these two are getting personal. This is crazy. Like this is super personal now. But yeah. It's been.
So do we think this?
Yeah.
So do we think this is building up to a celebrity boxing match?
No, I don't think so. I think they've just literally. I think the consensus is that Kendrick has won the beef, if you want to say it that way. Both massive artists. Now it's just people, their fans are just arguing online about streaming numbers on Spotify. So I think Drake's hit like 1 billion streams, like maybe more. Kendrick Lamar's like. I think he had like 100 million streams of his latest diss track. Such a simple melody, but it goes really well. It makes people want to dance. But yeah, so it's just people, just like literally fans are going harder at each other than the rappers ever did. So it's just like, what are we watching? But yeah, I remember one clip of watching the Super Bowl. That had Taylor Swift, right? Taylor Swift was on the camera. People booing her. Big time getting booed. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't think Taylor Swift would ever get booed like that. And then people were saying, so yeah, all the Swifties, they're not, supporting their favourite artists and all that kind of stuff. Then I realised her boyfriend is actually playing in the match and he's on the opposite team, so she's gonna get booed. It's not like people don't like her, so she's getting booed. Right. So yeah, that was quite funny as well. But yeah, Super Bowl. That's what it was. That's all it was, really.
To us Brits and Europeans in general, I think it's just because we don't get it. So we watch a game of football. As I said, I'm not the biggest football fan, but I enjoy the big games, and I really get obsessed with it for that little period of time. I think like the whole country does. And I quite like the halftime analysis where they break 100%. It down, they explain what's going on. It's super 100%. Interesting. I can't even imagine that they would cut away to what's our version of those guys. I don't know.
No, I'm just thinking the same thing. So imagine like the halftime period is only 15 minutes, but it gets pushed to like half an hour, and then they're like, and ladies and gentlemen, for your halftime entertainment, Tom Jones, and he comes out and he's like, what's new, pussycat? You know what I mean? Like we don't want that. That's ridiculous. We just want that 15-minute break, get back into the action. Do you know what I mean? Go get yourself a cup of tea, a pint of beer, drink a waffle, drink that, and then
it's just strange. Just
Americans,
strange.
but they need it. They need it, mate. They need some sort of entertainment at half time. We don't need that. Oh God, us Brits don't need that.
Well, the game is the entertainment. That's the thing. I like that our things are like broken off into little chunks. You know, so like if you want to watch your music, you got your music. You want to watch the football, you got the football in there. I know they sort of mess about with that sometimes, and then people just don't like it.
I got to be honest. I'm just speaking from an absolute amateur, right? Like speaking of here, I've tried to watch a little bit of the American football. But the game stops every 10 seconds. I don't know what is going on.
Stand it, mate.
Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's not like rugby. Rugby's like proper like a proper contact sport. People, getting pulled over, pushed down, barged, all that kind of stuff. I think in America you're only allowed to make one pass, like during the whole move, and if you get stopped, everything starts over again. And then you got like 20 people in the team running over. Like they got people that come in and they make a substitution. They got 20 people coming in, 20 people going off. I'm like, what is this fucking chaos? This is ridiculous. Oh my word, mental.
Yeah, you're right. I like the stoppy startiness. Do you know what? That each sport to their own.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly right. And what do I know? I just like flowing sports.
Yeah.
Like football is a flowing sport. Rugby is a flowing sport. I'd said this to you about basketball as well. The Americans love basketball, and I can see it because it's quick, it's energetic,
really is.
it's
End
a
to
high-scoring
end.
game.
Yeah.
I just cannot stand that. It's just so stoppy-starty, and you can stop the game with like 2 seconds on the clock. And I get that it builds the tension, but I don't like that. I like that you play, and if you run out of time, well, that's it. You run out of time.
That's right.
And the same thing with American football as well.
Yeah.
It's that I bet if you could take the stoppy startiness out of that game, it would absolutely launch, because it would just be so fast paced and high energy. But no, it's not for me. I mean, I've got a friend of mine who's massive into basketball. And he's just like, he talks about all the players, all the games and everything. And I can see his enthusiasm for it. And I get into it, and then they have to stop. And I'm like, why have they stopped? Oh, well, because he needs to do this. I'm like,
Yep, they've called a break. Do you know what it is? I've got into NBA as well, basketball. I've actually last couple of years, my mates really got into it, so I've got into it, and it is very entertaining. But the fact that you can call a timeout anytime you want, mate, that is like it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I'll tell you what though, Si. You know what I saw the other day, and I absolutely loved this. Someone sent me a clip, and it was a game of ice hockey, right, in the US.
yeah.
So I think it was US versus Canada. So United States versus Canada. And what happened was the game started, and straight away the ref blew the whistle because a player had taken off his helmet. And I was thinking, oh shit, what's happening? Maybe he has to readjust it. Nope. Took his helmet off, threw his gloves off, threw his stick on the floor, pointed at a US player. He done the same thing. And they just started battering the shit out of each other. They started punching, mate. They'll grab in, they'll put each other head up, punching each other. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is ridiculous. The refs are not stopping it. They're letting them fight. And then I saw the rules. I was like, this is amazing. So you can literally pick a fight whenever you want. The refs aren't going to stop it. The only time they stop it is when you hit the ground. And I was like, this is fucking amazing. But the funniest thing was, Si, as soon as that finished, right, everyone caught their composure. The two players were sent off in the sin bin. They got to wait for a few minutes before they can come back on. Another two players started on opposite sides again. They fought. Punches are being thrown. Blood is being splattered. They fall down. Referees break it up. No problem. They go into the sin bin again. So the team's on a sub. The third fight starts as soon as they restart. So, mate, there's been at least 3 minutes worth of fights, right? And it's only been 9 seconds played. This is mental, Si. Can you imagine?
Fantastic.
9 seconds of play and 3 minutes of fights. It's unreal. I was like, yo, if I was living in the US, I would be all up in this sport. It would be my favourite thing. This is crazy. Can you imagine that in football? Oh my God. Like, imagine like you got a free kick on the edge of the area. You can pause play because you just want to go punch up the goalie. Do you know what I mean? That is... Oh my word.
You might need more subs,
it was absolutely mental, mate. Americans in their sports are crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It's funny you say about ice hockey, actually, because I know a little bit about it, so I knew about the fighting thing. My sister didn't. She took her two kids, because they do little promotional things up where we are. We've got an ice rink by us, right? And she was telling me this story, and she'd taken her two young kids to it, and she was quite close to the front, because it's not a big sport in the UK, so it's easy to get fairly cheap tickets close to the action and stuff. So she was sitting in there with sitting quite close to the front with their two kids and stuff, and exactly like you said. Game starts, 2 minutes in, massive punch up right in front of like the protective screen thing, just like two guys just knocking the hell out of
that's
each
amazing.
other. And her kids were just like sitting back, just like, what is going on?
That is imagine you've never seen the sport in your life and that is your first experience. Oh, that is brilliant. Honestly, I was loving it. I thought this is incredible. But yeah, no, that is just mental, mate. Imagine like training your whole life, be good at ice skating, then you're good at hockey, then you combine the two, and then you make your debut, and then next thing you know, you're getting punched up. Like, that's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. I absolutely loved it, mate.
Thing is, you know what you're getting into. That's the difference, though, isn't it? Like, you don't just go from, like I say, ice skating, and then you get a little bit of hockey practice, and then you rock up and someone smacks you out. It's like, this starts out on like the streets and stuff. You get, you start off. I wonder what the training's like, though. Do you have to take a few shots just to know what you're going through? Because you have to practice everything, right? This is ridiculous.
No doubt.
But I would imagine you have to practice everything. So all the skills, and then you thump in the face.
I personally think, I'm just imagining what a professional athlete has to go through for training. So they'll wake up in the morning, they'll go and they'll have breakfast, they'll see the manager, get up to shake his hand, the manager will just punch him in the face. That is your training to get prepared for like a daily routine. Build up that tolerance for getting punched. But it's crazy.
Yeah, and you can't let them know it's coming either. It's just like, can you make us a coffee? They turn around and jab to the ear.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Surprise attack.
Do you think they have to shout it out as well, like a Street Fighter move? Surprise attack.
Or it'll be like unagi, like Friends. Oh my god. Yeah, no, it was good, mate. It was good. And thank you to everyone again for listening to the JTS 51 podcast. I just want to say thank you so much for giving us your ears for the last 30 minutes or so. Yeah, 30 minutes. Kind of running out of things to say on this outro, apart from please give us a like, subscribe, give us a review. If you really enjoy the show, give us a review, hopefully 5 stars. If it's less than 5, don't give us a review. Simple as. So yeah, that's a bye from me.
And just remember, the first rule of any sport is don't get punched in the face. I think that's a takeaway from
Even
this
if you're a
episode.
boxer, you kind of want to avoid getting punched in the face.
In fact, any job you're doing, just don't get punched in the face. Okay, rule number 1.
Exactly. Good advice.
Okay. Yep, exactly. We'll put that in a book. We'll sell millions.
Oh, bloody hell.
Right. Take care all. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the JTS 51 podcast. For more epic content, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for future episodes.